All right, hey. First and foremost, sorry. I want to apologize for taking the whole day to get back with you, but I'm here. All right, so let's get it. So this is going to be your donation-based reading. So first and foremost, let's jump into your ascendant, right, which is in Scorpio. So you have your rising sign in Scorpio. So what this means, and the rising sign, it's of great importance because it's essentially foundation of your birth chart. What I mean by this is the first house, also known as the ascendant or the rising house. This is the house that rules over your personal life, things that are, personal to you. Um, to g- further explain it, let me explain the sun and the moon, because the sun, the moon, and the ascendant all go on to make up your personality, your persona, that archetype or that character, that avatar, best word to use, that avatar which is walking around on this earth. You feel what I'm saying? And of course, the other planets signify other things as well. So the sun signifies your individuality, it signifies what you are expressing outwardly into the world, how you want people to see you, what it is that you're giving attention to, what you wish to bring into existence. It's energy, right? The sun is energy and it deals with vitality. So the sun, your sun is in Leo. Ooh, okay. And so the sun, it embraces what it is that you are expanding and what it is that you are find yourself dealing with. So, but the moon, it deals with what you are reacting and responding to. You feel what I'm saying? All right. So your moon is what you're reacting and responding to, but the sun is what you are giving out. So whereas the moon is in a sense what's coming in to your personal um circumference, for lack of a better word, and how you choose to react to it or respond to it. So that's the moon, you feel me? How you react or respond to the stimulation from external sources. The sun is how you enforce your will onto your environment, onto the people around you. The sun is how you express yourself. Being a Leo sun, you're all expressive, so you know what that's all about. But then the moon is, as we already talked about with the moon is, then your ascendant is like the person doing this, right? What does that person look like? Where did that person, I don't want to say where did that person come from, like what are the person's origins, but to an extent, yes. Because, let me put my phone down. Because the ascendant, it ultimately just helps you understand who and what you are at your rawest essence, at your distilled essence, who and what you are when you're not reacting and responding, or when you're not acting or trying to prove something, but just in your element. You feel what I'm saying? So that's why the ascendant is so important. Now, your ascendant being in Scorpio, this means that your chart ruler is Mars. Now, let me check to see where your Mars is. Mars, hold on. Got this password on my phone. Alright, now that I'm in my phone. So your Mars is in the 10th house and it's in the sign Virgo, which makes me want to look at your chart, study it, you know what I'm saying? Okay, okay, that's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. So you have, damn. And I'll explain what this all means in a minute. So you have Jupiter in the 10th house, Mars in the 10th house, and Venus in the 7th house. Okay, so your Mars is in Virgo in the 10th house, right? Hold on, my bad. Sorry about that. Okay. So your Mars is in Virgo in the 10th house. So Mars is the planet of aggression, right? Mars is the planet of strife. Mars can either express as construction or destruction, as and it also expresses as like motivation, determination, ambition. Mars is ultimately executive energy. It's that aspect of life that requires that we execute, that requires that we try. that requires that we struggle, right? Like exercising, for example, is a good example of what Mars represents and is, right? Strive, hard work. So with your first house being ruled by Mars, the planet of strife, it is an indication that in your life you've gone through some shit and you've had to transform, right? Because Scorpio is the sign of transformation. You've had to transform through plethora of the best way I like the way that I naturally want to explain this is Scorpio is fixed water. It's not per se fixed water like ice, even though that is, Scorpion as well, because Scorpio is cold, right? And it's no, well, yeah, Scorpio is cold, but it's also a very hot sign in the sense that, Scorpio has ability for great passion. Scorpio's thought trend is I desire, you feel me? And it's yeah, its thought trend is I desire. Okay. Sorry, I was trying to think of something that's not coming to my head. So its thought trend is I desire, So Scorpios are very passionate. They have ability to, so it's fixed water, and what this means is that being fixed water, water is emotions, right? So Scorpio being fixed water, it has a natural inclination towards holding grudges and holding baggage, from the past and things like that. And that's why Aquarius, I'm not bad on Aquarius. Scorpio is very much a sign that benefits tremendously um from learning how to cleanse, specifically cleanse energy. Because when you think of water, right, still water, because being fixed water, it can be likened to water that has stopped moving, right? Dead water, not living water. You feel what I'm saying? Um, there's a lot about Scorpio. Um, and so because it's fixed water, what happens is when water doesn't move, it starts to accumulate all of the trash, garbage, baggage. And so what happens ultimately is that a lot of Scorpios, they continue to go living life, right? Because like in life, there is no pause or break. It's kind of a go, 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 go. So they find themselves still living life, but there's so many shit that they're carrying with them, and this is specifically spiritual baggage. Is what I'm saying because the water signs are all just spiritual because the water signs belong to the psychic. Is it the psychic trinity? Yeah, they belong to the psychic trinity. So they're all psychic. You feel me? And it's through the water signs that we connect through psychicism, which is spirituality. Um, fuck. I can't say just the water signs because the fire signs also help us tap into spirituality. But anyways, not to go into too much detail because I'm an ascendant Virgo. You know how Virgo we can do that. And I get into Virgo because your Mars is in Virgo. But yeah, ultimately it's spiritual baggage. So for you, learning how to cleanse, learning how to release is of great importance and value. And it's crazy that I bring up cleansing and purification because Virgo, right, is a sign that's been known as like the virgin, right? And so we're not when we say virgin, it's more referencing the purity of this sign. It's nature to want to purify and cleanse. You feel what I'm saying? So that's ultimately, yeah, so that's ultimately the so Virgo on its highest exaltation, like when Virgos are evolved, what happens is they start to realize because Virgo is a worldly sign. And so, hold on, before I explain the Virgo energy, let me explain what I'm doing here with. So, Mars rules your ascendant. So, what this means is your first house, which deals with your personal life. And so your personal life, when you're not reacting and responding, and you're just sitting in your element, and this is just you, and you're just chilling. Maybe you're at home, and or maybe you're around family, and you feel so because family. Okay, Family is the fourth house. You feel what I'm saying? Now, the fourth house and the first house, they square each other. And so what this means is that the fourth house, which is the house of family, and the first house, which is the house of the personal life, they may not get along because sometimes your family may want you to be a different way, which is five, because well, the sun and the fifth house deal with, the identity. But so that's why they square. So it wouldn't be a good analogy for me to per se say, unless you're a person who gets really along with your family members, which I can also tell by working on your first house. Then you have like anyways, so that's what your first house is. Now, whatever planet is ruling that first house, it's sending influence to it. You feel what I'm saying? So Mars is there, and so what Mars is doing, Mars being in Virgo, is it's asking that it's asking you to work and service people. You feel what I'm saying? But also looking at your chart, you have Jupiter. Holy shit, you have Jupiter. You have like Jupiter and I think Mercury. Hold on, sorry, let me check again. So I know that you have Jupiter for sure in the 10th house. So work is of great importance. So holy shit, your Mars. Holy shit, what the heck? So you have both your Mars in the 10th house and you also have Jupiter in the 10th house. Yeah. So what this means is that first and foremost, you already know this. This is going to be more confirmation than anything. Your line of work has to be personal to you. You feel what I'm saying? It has to be personal to you, and yeah, I'll leave it at that. It has to be personal to you, and it has to have derived from some sort of past experience you had, some sort of traumatic experience you had that, in a sense, led you and directed you towards that path. So the Mars energy. So, all right, let's talk about the 10th house. So, the 10th house, it's a house that deals with the business, right? It deals with the business, the business, yeah, the business. That's what it does. It's the business, the status, the career, the credit, the honors, things like that, like the public. But ultimately it's business. So with Mars being in the 10th house and Jupiter being in the 10th house as well, yeah, it's an indication that you're an entrepreneur. Um, and the Cash App you sent me, there was like a logo, so that checks out, right? That you're an entrepreneur. Okay, so yeah, an entrepreneur. Being an entrepreneur is like your best line of work, right? Like that's, hold on. Let me also look at what you have your 10th house in. So, so I also want to say this. Um, okay, so we have said that you have your and Mars in the 10th house in Virgo. So Mars in the 10th house in Virgo, let's just talk a little bit about that energy first. So, and we've been talking about it already, but so when Mars goes into Virgo, it makes you very analytical and a type of individual who likes, before you do something, you like to understand like the ins and outs of it. You like to collect information and data. You feel me? If it's one thing you're good at is being resourceful. You feel me? Because Virgo is a sign. It's a harvest sign as well, right? I think it's in the fall. Yeah, I think it's in the fall season. But anyways, it's a harvest sign, right? And it deals with it's a harvest sign, and it deals with being resourceful and having things. Because Virgo is an earth sign as well, you got to keep in mind, right? And so, being an earth sign, it's very worldly and it's very practical and grounded into the physical world. Um, and so, primarily in the stars, there are, like, for example, the constellation Hercules. The constellation Hercules is, I'm trying to think about the other constellations as well. So, the constellation Hercules is in the Virgo constellation. So what this means is And when I do, when I do the deeper readings, I give people like their corresponding corresponding constellation, if that makes sense. Because you see, what the ancients were doing is they were looking at the stars and they were personifying them. So they were looking at certain portions of the stars and they're making, because the ancients, they were a lot more spiritual than us, and they were more tapped into like, their spiritual senses, so they were able to see um into the spiritual world from deeper angles than we were able to. And so what they did was they took the stars and they made them into characteristics so it can be better understood by us. And so the story of Hercules, right, belongs to the deacon of Virgo, which belongs to achievement. So there is so renunciation, I think it is. So there are three deacons in the sign Virgo. So the first deacon of the sign Virgo is the deacon of experience, and then the deacon of achievement, then the deacon of renunciation, if I'm not mistaken. Um, all of these like technical, functions and shit. This usually doesn't happen, but shit, man, I gotta do what I gotta do. You know, I don't know why, but the camera keeps turning off. Dude, hold on. Yeah, so I do apologize that I don't think there's gonna be video from here on in. But anyways, so yeah. So like the Virgo constellation, it's all about being resourceful and having an ability to know how to use like the world around you. You feel me? Like understanding the resources you have around you and understanding how to use them. Ultimately, Virgo, it is a sign that's strictly of this world. You feel me? And the story of Hercules, right? It's a great example of what we're doing here. Hercules came down here, right, and he was tasked with completing, different. I think I don't know called different tasks. You feel me? Labors as they were called, and coincidentally, Virgo is the sign that deals with labor. And so as Hercules went through all these labors and things like that, Hercules knew why he was doing what he was doing. He knew he was doing the things he was doing to reclaim his like his position, right, in the heavens above, right, as one of the gods. And it's like that story is deep, right, because it's allegorical, but essentially it's like Virgo is the sign that deals with life. But Pisces, okay, so Virgo and Pisces are opposite signs. So Pisces specifically deals with life, in the experience of life, and like life in the sense of like embracing all of the different dimensions. But then like the tree of good and no, the tree of knowledge, yeah. So like the tree of knowledge, right, is said to be not said to be, but the tree of knowledge was put in the Virgo constellation because we come into Earth for the purpose of knowledge and wisdom, for the purpose of learning good and bad. You feel me? How to do a good job, and yeah, like, cause it's like it's not good. Like when I say bad and evil, I more mean like error, right? Cause like when you fuck up, then and you make an error, then that's bad. But it's not bad because it's against the law. It's bad because if you do it like that, you will hurt yourself, or like it's just not the way to do it. You feel what I'm saying? Um, and so yeah, that's what the Virgo energy is all about. That's why Virgos can be very like cautious and they're not really risk takers like that. They more so like to be calm and collective. Hold on, I'm sorry, I'm blank. Let me move on to your chart though, but diving into that was kind of important, you feel me, because that's your that's the planet that rules your chart. So ultimately, in life, it's important for you to, like, all the attributes and traits I said to have. Technically, you already have them, and I'm just, I guess, bringing light to the reality that this is what's happening. But I also want to say this, like, I see a lot of success, like business success, in your chart. You feel what I'm saying? And so also, like with that Mars, I mean, with that 10th house, first house connection, it's an indication that in this lifetime, when you came into this lifetime, you knew that you were going to be a business individual, but you also give yourself qualities and attributes that would make you a type of person that can keep up um with the changes and demands of the environment, because ultimately the first house, it deals with the person, right? And the person's ability to like give the environment what the environment requires, right? Because as things change, you and of yourself, like you are personally asked to change. And the more you can change personally, the more you can improve your life, right? And so the 10th house is uh like the business world, right? And what the business world requires of you. The 10th house is just like the public stage. That's literally what it is. But then the first house is the person, the you feel me? And so these two have a natural tendency of working with each other and working together. And so, yeah, pretty much you probably can't separate yourself from your business. Like your business is probably, it's more than just a business, but it's probably like you, like your life. You know what I'm saying? So it's good to invest into that and to, pour into that. And so Virgo, it's a sign that deals with labor, but specifically working at something for a noble cause. So labor for noble purposes, though. You feel what I'm saying? Anyways, so you also have your sun in the eighth house. And the eighth house, it's the house of death, right? And Scorpio is the sign that deals with death. So with the eighth house being like there, like it's all about transformation and transmutation and growing. You feel what I'm saying? Growing and evolving and having a will. Because okay, so Leo's doctrine is I will. You feel me? It's all about willing things into existence. It's all about influencing shit around you by through your will. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, that's what Aries. I mean, that's what Leo is. It's all about the will, the willpower, and the so the sun, right? When you're watching a movie, for example, the main character is the sun, right? But specifically, well, I hope I've been recording. This seems like pause. I don't know where. I'm sorry, I accidentally paused it, so I'm not sure what I said and what I didn't. But anyways, I was explaining how the sun, it's like the underdog. You feel what I'm saying? It's that aspect of you that rebels, that aspect of you that rebels against authority, right? Because the sun is your ego. Um, and so yeah, and so that's what the Leo energy very much is, right? The Leo energy, it's centered around attention, right? And it deals with um like wanting to put itself out there and wanting to be useful and wanting to be valuable. You feel me? Wanting to be useful and valuable. Okay, so Leo is a sign that is optimistic for the most part. You know, they're optimistic, they're positive because they're ruled by the sun, of course. And it's also a very executive sign, meaning they're all about action and getting things done. You feel what I'm saying? And so a lot of what's getting done and a lot of what you're doing and like going through and working through um is eighth house stuff, right? So there is a lot of transmutation that needs to take place, a lot of release, and I already said this, right? I already said this. So it's like with the eighth house energy, this is private things, right? Things that may be taboo or put under like behind scenes. And so the way that this energy plays out is like maybe you draw people to you that are like I want to use the word sketchy, and yes, because the eighth house is a house that deals with hidden enemies, people that come through with like ulterior motives and X, Y, and Z, but they conceal those ulterior motives. If you know what I'm saying, they don't let you know why they're here, what they're doing. So that's like eighth house energy. But at the same time, the eighth house it also deals with psychic people, like myself, for example. I would fall into the eighth house. So the eighth house it's a because it goes to seventh house and then the eighth house. And the seventh house is the house of personal relationships. And then you have your moon in Libra, which is the seventh sign. So Libra has an affinity for the the seventh house. And so the way that that plays out also is you have this strong inclination towards like relationships and people. You feel me? But the problem with it is that a lot of the people that you may find yourself engaging and interacting with they may be sketchy, so you find yourself in a position where you isolate, right? Because it's like in the eighth house, the sun is isolated, but then Scorpio, being your ascendant, indicates that you're a very isolated person already. But then, like with the moon in Scorpio, it indicates that you have a natural affinity for like friendships and relations, but at the same time, like with with Libra being here, there is this need to form a relationship with yourself. You feel me? Where it's like, there you may develop this desire to kind of just want to stay home, like make your money. Well, hold on. Well, no, I don't know if I should say stay home because like Leo energy, Scorpio energy, and even Libra energy, they do like they do go outside. Yeah, no, my bad. Like you, I see a lot of I do see a lot of exalted energy in your chart, but for the most part, like you're the type of person who probably will find peace more interesting than going out and partying, like and that may not have, or like that may not have always been the case because, like from a toxic standpoint, because wherever the eighth house is, it's an indication that yo you have trauma here that you need to deal with, and there's trauma also when it comes to your self image, your personal view on who and what you think you are, X, Y, and Z. You feel what I'm saying? But ultimately, I got all these other readings I need to do as well, so I do want to be mindful of the other people. So I want to thank you. And yeah, if you would be interested in getting a fuller reading, because then we'll really, really dive into your chart, and break things down. Like we broke things down here too as well. But like we talked, yeah, yeah. So let me know, if you'd be interested in a fuller reading, and I'd be happy to do that for you. But anyways, also let me know what you thought of this reading. Right, peace.